Hey guys, what is up? And welcome back to the Baseball Buckley podcast for the first time in a long time. I don't really know why I stopped, but now I plan on coming back, and I plan on coming back strong. I'm going to come out with at least one video today, and that video, which is obviously this one, is the free agency predictions for 2020. And maybe later, if I have time, I'm going to record my 2021 season prediction videos where I go over records, standings, playoffs, and award winners. So let's get right into it here with the season's biggest free agent, the former Cy Young winner from the Cincinnati Reds, Trevor Bauer. I really hope that Boston signs him and brings him in to help our rotation because God knows the Red Sox need pitching after watching last season's mess. But I think the Los Angeles Angels are going to sign Trevor Bauer. I just feel like they need that number one starter, and Trevor Bauer could definitely be that guy. And it's a big city in LA, but he's not going to the Dodgers where it's already a great starting rotation. And then one of the biggest hitters, one of the biggest power hitters of this free agency, Marcell Ozuna from Atlanta Braves. And I also hope the Red Sox sign him to help out in the outfield, especially if Jackie Bradley Jr. leaves, but I don't think there's any fit better for Marcell Ozuna than the Atlanta Braves. Due to the outfield that they have there, Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ozuna have the same type of flair that they play with, and same thing with Ozzie Albies. So I feel like he just really fits into the way that the Braves play baseball in Atlanta. Next up, from the Houston Astros, outfielder George Springer. I feel like he's going to sign with the Toronto Blue Jays, get a change of location. I don't think he's going to re-sign at all with the Houston Astros. I mean, I could see it a little bit, but I really don't think that that's going to happen. And the reason that I think he's going to sign with Toronto is because he really would help out that outfield. That outfield doesn't have really any marquee names, so George Springer would be the guy there. And there's also, if you look at the team, the core is very young right now with Vladdy and Bichette and Cavan Biggio. And so I feel like if he goes to Toronto, he's going to be the guy there, and he's going to help out the younger guys form into better baseball players. Next up, the best catcher in free agency this year, JT Realmuto from the Philadelphia Phillies. I feel like the Mets are going to sign him, and I feel like he's not going to be the only person that the Mets really try to go after hard this free agency, especially with their new owner, Steve Cohen. I feel like he's going to try to make moves and help make the Mets one of the better teams in the league again. And the first move he's going to make is sign JT Realmuto to be behind the plate for guys like Syndergaard and DeGrom. I heard of that rumors that he might go to the Yankees, but I feel like they won't sign another catcher when they have Gary Sanchez. I know Sanchez isn't the best guy behind the plate to have, but he can definitely hit the ball well. And I don't think the Yankees need to spend more money on a prime free agent already with the contracts that they have, like Cole and Judge and Stanton and all those guys that they have. Next up, Eddie Rosario. He cleared waivers about last week, and I really think that he's going to sign with the Red Sox. And the only problem, I love Eddie Rosario, I love him, but the only problem that I have with him coming to the Red Sox is that the defensive outfield of Rosario, Benintendi, and Verdugo, if Bradley leaves, that's not really going to end up too well defensively, but Rosario can get the hits that Bradley gets, but more of them, and that's what we really need from an outfielder. We need someone that can hit the ball a lot better than JBJ. And then you have Verdugo, who's going to be a star, I feel, and Benintendi, who can also hit the ball well if he's on. But I personally think that the Red Sox should trade Benintendi for a starting pitcher, but that's going to be a whole different video on what I think that the Red Sox should do this offseason. Next up, speaking of him, JBJ, the defensive center fielder from the Boston Red Sox. I think he's going to sign with the Astros because when Springer leaves, they're going to need someone to fill that void. And why not JBJ? He's a really good defensive guy, and he's really good defensive in Boston's outfield, which is a really hard outfield to play. So if you bring him down to Minute Maid Park, his defense might even get better. And the Astros already have hitters, so they don't necessarily need another big power hitter. So I think JBJ would fit perfectly with the Houston Astros. Next up, one of the best relievers this free agency, Brad Hand from the Cleveland Indians. And I think the Dodgers are going to sign him because due to a report that I saw from Bleacher Report, the Dodgers tried hard to get him last season. So I feel like now that he's a free agent, the Dodgers will give him the money that he wants. And if he wants to go get a ring, he can pair up with Kenley Jensen in that Dodgers bullpen and really help them try to repeat. Next up, the older shortstop from the Los Angeles Angels, Andrelton Simmons. I feel like the Blue Jays are going to sign him because Bichette, even though he makes the flashy plays at shortstop, he's not the most consistent defensive shortstop in the league. So to round out that infield, you can have Andrelton Simmons come and either have him play second base to improve the middle infield defense, or you can move Bichette to second base and Simmons to short, and then you can have a infield that consists of Simmons, Bichette, and Guerrero, and that would be one of the best defenses in infield in baseball. Next up from the Oakland Athletics, Tommy La Stella. Also, like the Blue Jays, they're going to need an infield improvement this offseason, and I feel like Tommy La Stella would be the perfect guy to do that. And he could go and he could play really any position in that infield and succeed. So out of an infield that didn't have the best defense, Tommy La Stella would really go and help that, and he can hit the ball pretty well. Now, Kyle Schwarber, it just learned about last week that he wasn't getting a contract extension from the Chicago Cubs, which means he's one of the big free agents this offseason. And I feel like Schwarber could go to the White Sox because if you look at the White Sox outfield and really infield, it's a lot of righty hitters or a switch hitter in Tim Anderson. So if the White Sox are able to get Kyle Schwarber, they can get a nice outfielder or even put him at DH because it would be the American League for him first time. Or he surprises everyone and goes with the Phillies to pair in an outfield with Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. That could be a very good outfield, but the Phillies would still need to add other pieces to make a chance to make a run in October. Next up, Jock Peterson. He was in a few home run derbies with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And if you look at teams that need a power-hitting lefty, the St. Louis Cardinals fit that description very well because the Cardinals, they don't have too many power hitters. Really, Paul Goldschmidt is their number one power hitter. So if you're able to add a power hitter from the left side of the plate that matches well with Paul Goldschmidt, that would be a very good addition for the Cardinals to try to make a divisional run and then possibly a late run during the postseason. Next up, starting pitcher from the New York Yankees, Masahiro Tanaka. I don't really know where he's going to sign. I could see him re-signing with the Yankees, but I think he's going to go somewhere else. And what would be a really good spot for him would also be the Los Angeles Angels, because if he goes there, he can be the number 2 to Trevor Bauer, and then you could go a top 3 rotation of Bauer, Tanaka, and Richards, which would be or Ohtani, I think. I don't necessarily know their whole rotation, but that would be a very good top 3 rotation for any team. And then you add Mike Trout to that team in center field, and that could be a deadly team in the AL West. Next up, Trevor Rosenthal, the relief pitcher for the San Diego Padres. The Padres really shined out last year with Fernando Tatis leading the way and also Slam Diego's little run there. So Trevor Rosenthal re-signs there as one of the veterans and tries to help that team make another playoff run in 2021. Next up, Justin Turner from the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think he's going to return to the Dodgers because if he doesn't, it's going to be hard for the Dodgers to fill a third base void in this free agency. And they won the World Series last year, so I don't see any reason why Turner would leave or the Dodgers not pay him the money he wants to stay in Los Angeles. Next up, the shortstop from the Philadelphia Phillies, Didi Gregorius. He's probably going to re-sign with Philly. I can't really see him going anywhere else. But I've heard rumors that the Cincinnati Reds want to trade for Trevor Story or Francisco Lindor this offseason. And if that doesn't work, I can see them trying to go for Didi Gregorius. I mean, I haven't seen rumors about that from any baseball reporter, but I could totally see him going to Cincinnati, especially with the money they're going to get from not having Trevor Bauer's contract. Next up, Marcus Semien, another shortstop from the Oakland Athletics this time. I think he's going to re-sign with Oakland because if you look at Oakland, they're really right on the brink of the postseason run every single year with like the Chris Davis and Semien and Matt Chapman. So I think Semien will re-sign with Oakland, and you can have that left side of the infield be Chapman and Semien, and I think that's really going to help Oakland try to make a playoff run. Next up, another Oakland Athletic, Liam Hendriks, this time a relief pitcher. And if one team really needs a relief pitcher that isn't one of the top teams in the league, I think that's the San Francisco Giants. Now, no one's predicting Hendriks to go to the San Francisco Giants, so this is definitely a surprise. But I can totally see him signing there because they really need a bullpen, and he could be the start of a bullpen there, and trying to build around a team of Mike Yastrzemski in left field. Next up, a Houston Astro outfielder, Michael Brantley. I think he's going to re-sign with the Astros because he played for Cleveland prior to going to the Astros, but I feel like Houston's his best fit, and I don't think there's any reason for him to leave, especially if JBJ comes. They're going to have that defensive outfielder, so Brantley can be more of an offensive outfielder and worry more about hitting than the fielding part. Nelson Cruz. I think he's also going to re-sign with his team, the Minnesota Twins, because the Twins really need to keep that power hitter because Kepler's not the biggest power. He can still hit for power, but he's not the biggest power hitter in the league. So they need to keep a good power hitter there in Nelson Cruz. He's hit over 50 home runs in the last 2 seasons combined, so I think that would be a good fit for him and keep trying to build up that Minnesota Twins offense around the home runs. Now, DJ LeMahieu, he's one of the biggest names this offseason. I think he's going to re-sign with New York because they'll give him the money. Anywhere else, it wouldn't be a bad fit. I don't think there's a bad fit in the league for him. But I don't think the Red Sox would be a good fit for LeMahieu, even though they really need that second baseman. He's an opposite field hitter. So I'm pretty sure DJ is a right-handed hitter. Let me just look that up for a second. I'm pretty sure he's a righty, but for some reason I have a thought that he is a lefty. Can't find it. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go on to the next free agent, and I'll come back to him. The next free agent is Corey Kluber from the Texas Rangers. He played for the Cleveland Indians when they blew the 3-1 lead in the World Series to the Chicago Cubs. So I feel like a good fit would be the Red Sox because he's not the topper reliever guy anymore. So I feel like the Sox need that guy to fill a role in, and I think Corey Kluber coming to the Red Sox would probably be the best fit on a lower contract. And yes, DJ LeMahieu is a righty, so I don't think Boston would be a good fit for him because he's an opposite field hitter most of the time. So hitting at Fenway Park could be a problem due to right field being 380 feet to the bullpens, and if he's going to try to start pulling the ball, he's got to deal with the green monster down left field. I got 2 more free agents. They're both former Red Sox. We have John Lester from the Chicago Cubs. I think he's going to surprise the world and sign with the San Francisco Giants. I feel like that would be a good fit because they have Cueto, who I think could have a breakout year again and be the number 1 guy there, and Lester could fill in as the 2, or switch that around and have Lester be the 1 and Cueto be the 2. And next up is reliever. He started a fight with the New York Yankees, and he hates the Astros like most of us do. Joe Kelly. I can see him re-signing with the Dodgers, but I think that the Red Sox really need that bullpen guy, and the fans love Joe Kelly here due to his Joe Kelly Fight Club gimmick. So I think that would be the best fit for Joe Kelly. Thank you for watching, everybody. Those are some of my 2020 free agency predictions. I'll see if I can have that season predictions video out tonight. I have a few things, so I'm not sure if I'm going to have the time. But thank you for watching, and go Red Sox.